here's how you keep the system from, being an oligarchy rather than a democracy. It's really very easy. You basically run the whole executive branch procedurally according to what is called sort of laws that are passed by Congress, which are actually like micromanagement bills as thick as 10 phone books stacked on top of each other, which almost no congressman read. Then you have an electoral system where if you're an incumbent running for the House of Representatives, your chance of being reelected is roughly 98%. So like in the Senate, it's a little lower, it's more like 90%. However, if you get unelected, very sad, whoever replaces you has no power at all because of the seniority system, which, by the way, is found nowhere in the Constitution. And so if you manage to unelect, like they unelected, who did they unelect in this guy, Dave Bratt, unelected a guy in Virginia a few years ago. You unelect one of these dinosaurs like a Mitch McConnell or whatever.
Good luck.
His place is Eric Cantor, yeah. Eric Cantor, one of the classic GOP guys. His place is immediately taken by one of his fellows, and you don't get his job because actually the whole thing is run on the seniority system. And so actually, one way to test whether a political system or a political power or political structure has become symbolic is to say, if we remove this structure, can the system work in the same way? So, for example, if you remove Charles III from England, will daily life on the streets of England change at all? No, because he's not involved in government whatsoever, right? But
you want the monarchy to have influence. You don't want a king that does not have influence. That's just a figurehead.
It's a fake.
You're not a fan of the figurehead model.
I'm not a fan of the figurehead.
Because you think America is a figurehead.
I think that actually democracy has entered the figurehead model. And so essentially when you get...
people would disagree with you on Trump, though, for Trump to be a figurehead. He's getting a lot of things done as a...
Again, 0.001%. Right. Remember
what 100 is
he's getting. Yeah, he's getting a lot of things done, but relative to his predecessors, he's getting a lot of things done. But on an absolute historical scale, still not really that much. And again, if you're on that 0 to 1 scale, the question you have to ask is, could this be multiplied by 10? Because if it could be multiplied by 10, it's less than 0.1. If it could be multiplied by 100, it's less than 0.01. And so if you basically see, yes.
So you're going to keep going backwards.
Sorry?
You're going to keep going backwards. There is no progress.
What do you mean?
How do you make progress with that if you have the system that we have?
You actually have to enter a completely, you have to multiply.
It's going to be nasty.
No, it doesn't have to be nasty. And that's, I think, the most important thing is that actually you can get up to those higher levels of power without it being nasty. If you look at, for example, the fall of East Germany, almost complete change of power. It's not quite Germany in 1945. It's pretty close.
Yeah, but somebody from the West got up and said, tear down that wall. So there was another powerful
force
figure that was pushing you. So who can do that to America, though?
Yeah,
nobody's there.
No, that's true. That's true. Hi there. I'm Curtis Yarvin, a.k.a. Mencius Moldbug, and I've created a profile on this fascinating site, Manect, which allows anyone to put in a few dimes and ask me about anything, and I'll take questions on anything that isn't personal. I have many opinions on history, politics, science, economics, and all kinds of interesting things. And if you have a good and interesting question, why not ask it? I might well answer it. Thank you very much.